me press the button first. We are live.
All right, thank you. A very good evening, everybody who is joining us on this live streaming of a very, very important session, which is about busting the myth of ROI when choosing a B school. My name is Dr. Saurabh Bhattacharya, and I am a professor of operations management in the Institute of Management Technology, Hyderabad. I have been a chairperson of admissions a couple of years back, and I am currently the chairperson of the alumni relationship at IMT Hyderabad. Now, why I chose to talk about my two portfolios is pretty important, is because as a chairperson of admissions, I have had this opportunity to understand the incoming students and the fresh students' idea about how to choose a B school. On the other hand, I also had a unique experience of knowing the understanding of the students who are passing out and becoming alumni. And I see there is a huge difference between the way the incoming student perceive ROI and the students who are outgoing perceive an ROI. So that is the reason why I thought it would be an apt situation to talk about what exactly we should mean by ROI. And as an incoming student, what you should understand when we are looking at return on investment before choosing a B school. So as the name suggests, it is the return on investment. That means there has to be some investment on which you are expecting some kind of returns. If you look at it from a finance definition point of view, there are two major definitions which emerge. One is an absolute profitability on the investment that you're making. And the second one is the ratio of the difference in the value of investment to the cost of investment. Now, out of these two definitions, I would choose to discuss more on the second definition, because the first definition really does not apply in the context of B school admissions. Now, if you look at the second definition closely, there are certain words and phrases that I have highlighted. One of them is the value. And this value it goes into the numerator of the ratio. And the second one is the cost of investment, which of course goes into the denominator. So idea here is to improve this ratio by either increasing the numerator, which is the value, or reducing the denominator, which is the cost of investment. The next set of questions would be, how do I define the value? Normally, I have seen when I have interacted with large number of students who have been trying to get admission, their definition of return on investment directly comes from what is the fee that they're paying. Nothing beyond that. In fact, if you look at the cost of investment, it is much, much more than only the fee that student is paying. And their value of, or their definition of the value comes from what is the CTC that they are going to get at the end of the 2 years of MBA program, which again, according to me and according to many of the alumni who pass out from various MBA institutes, requires a different kind of evaluation altogether. So I'm going to spend some time on defining these two aspects, and then probably it will help you reflect upon more when you look at any business school from the ROI point of view. So what is a value? And before I talk about value, let me just spend some time on the cost, because value is something that will have a meaning only when you have discussed about the cost. So when we talk about cost of investment in MBA, what are the various elements that one should consider? Of course, the first element that probably every individual student and the parent would consider is, what is the fees of the program? And based on the fee, what is the loan that a student is taking, what is the EMI that one has to pay against the loan that has been taken, or even if the student is a self-sponsored candidate, how much is the total fee that is going to be outgoing from their pockets. That is the first and most important element of the cost of investment one is making in the MBA program. The question is this enough? And when you evaluate this cost a little bit more closely, you will understand that we are making a gross mistake by just considering what is the fee that the institute is charging or the program is charging. There are other elements also. What about the time value of the money? Those 2 years that you are going to spend in the college, in the campus, if you had invested those 2 years elsewhere, taking an employment, probably you would be earning some money, some salary out of it. Or you would have also spent those 2 years in doing some entrepreneurship or helping your family in the business. You could have earned some money out of it. So by joining an MBA program, obviously you are losing those opportunities, and there is an opportunity cost. Does a student really calculate these opportunity costs, or does the student only take the program fee into consideration? Now, if you remember, we have talked about ROI being a ratio of the value to the cost. By increasing or adding few more elements to the cost, you're making the denominator heavier. If the denominator becomes heavier, it is imperative that the program should provide you values so that the numerator itself becomes heavier and your ROI becomes much more attractive. What about the cost of the cognitive efforts that you are investing as a student during those 2 years? You're sitting in the classrooms, you're trying to understand the lectures, and these are all heavy duty lectures. The concepts that you're going to learn inside the classroom, the activities that you're going to do inside the classroom are towards making you understand the basic nuances of various aspects of a business. Various discussions that you do inside the class or outside the class with your peers and the faculty members, the projects that you undertake, and most importantly, the type of efforts that you put in clearing those examinations, which are regular phenomena in continuous intervals. So do you really account for those kind of efforts in terms of cost? Obviously, you will not be able to put a direct number to it, but does it not give you a sense of that you're spending something? What about the psychological efforts? So cognitive effort deals with your brain, obviously your wisdom and your intellectual levels of efforts that you're putting. But psychological efforts are more to do with your how you are able to take stress. Are you able to meet the expectations that the program has from you? And in some cases, the program has very rigorous expectations, right? Because there is a huge competition when the program starts within the students, and the programs have different kind of expectations from different sets of people. Similarly, your own individuals who are surrounding you inside the classroom, your own peers have some kind of an expectation for you. So when a student joins an MBA college, for many of them, the environment in which the learning takes place is completely different. It's a new environment. And they find themselves struggling to meet the expectations of various stakeholders within the program and outside the program. Then you have the efforts relating to managing your time. You will have n number of activities to perform. You will have n number of projects to complete. You will have so much of syllabus to complete. And then on top of it, you will have so many other co-curricular or extracurricular activities to perform. But at the end of the day, you just have 24 hours, right? So one needs to really be able to manage their time in such a way that they're able to provide sufficient, if not more, but at least sufficient or adequate amount of time for all the activities that they are supposed to perform during the MBA course. And last but not the least, which is these days a very important aspect, is about surviving the failures. In fact, an institute which gives you an understanding and gives you the skill sets to survive the failures, according to me, should be in the top of your priority list. Because you can simply imagine that by choosing a good B school, you have already created yourself to be one of the sought after individual in the industry. You have seen that success. You have joined an institute after passing the competitive examination, and you have been successful. Suddenly, in that heightened emotion of being successful, if you are encountered with a failure moment, then many students are not able to take it in the right spirit. In fact, according to my own observations and my experience in being academic for last 2 decades, I have seen that surviving the failures is one of the most important skill sets one can learn. The industry which you are going to join is highly competitive. There's a cutthroat competition in the industry, and it is very likely that sometimes you will fail. And in fact, you will fail lot many times. So until unless you are equipped enough to handle those failures, you will not be able to stand up again and succeed. So many students I have seen that succumb to these kind of pressures, and they come to faculty members and the counselors to seek guidance. All this requires an investment from your side, handling the stress, handling the expectations from people, managing the time, surviving the failure, dealing with your psychological issues. All that requires your attention, your investment of time. And that is why it is said that when you're looking at the return on investment, it should not be only on the basis of monetary investment that you're doing. You're putting much more than that into the program. You're putting your heart and soul into the program. So now that you understand what is the cost of investment, you also understand that in the ratio, your denominator is much more heavy than what you see from the outside. Until unless a program is able to provide you equally heavy numerator, which is the value, the program does not have any sense. Program has a very poor return on investment. So then how do we define the value of investment during the MBA? First and foremost thing, which many of you think is the value, and many of the parents and many of other individuals think that until unless an MBA is able to land you a job, there's no worth of that MBA, which to a large extent is correct, because one of the important criteria for a good program is to make you employable. And once you become an employable, your possibility of landing a job is much more high. And an MBA graduate has relatively higher chances of getting a job than a person who does not hold an MBA degree. That is a fact, because MBA is a program which provides you with multiple skill sets and multiple equipments that I would use that you can survive in the industry. Second one is your CTC, the salary part of it. So you might land up a job, but does the CTC satisfy you, or is it equivalent to your expectations or not? Many students find it very difficult to understand the difference between an average CTC and the median CTC. CTC is nothing but cost to the company. So by hiring an individual, what is the total cost that the company is going to incur, which does not mean the take home salary that you take, but it also involves many other elements. For example, it could include some sort of benefits that are given to you. It may also include some types of bonuses that you get. So all those things put together is the cost that a company is going to invest on each candidate. So as a matter of practice, most of the institutes provide you the average CTC or median CTC figure. So these two things are related to the immediate job that you're going to get and the immediate salary that you're going to get out of an MBA program. Then comes, what is the change in the role or the industry or the domain or the CTC that you can expect by joining a specific company? Does the company provide you chances of shifting from one role to the other role, or the role is so standard and fixed that it makes you a role specific candidate? Does the type of role that you are involved in make you ready for different types of industries, or does it make you an expert in a specific industry? Similarly, does the role make you a domain specific individual, or it gives you an opportunity to cross fertilize your experience and expertise and become a multi-domain individual? And what are the chances of improvement in the CTCs? How frequently does the CTC go in the upward direction for you? These are certain things that obviously, whenever your companies are coming to your campus for placement, they will talk about. They will provide you all these details in terms of their pre-placement talks, and you will be educated about them. I call them as short-term dividends. So because we are talking about return on investment, we also need to talk about dividends. I put them in a category of short-term dividends. But then you have long-term dividends too. And how do you know, and what are those long-term dividends? One of the most important long-term dividend is, does the institute give you a job opportunity, or it gives you a career opportunity? Remember, there's a huge difference between a job and a career. Job is something related to immediate gratification. You can get a job by joining a placement agency, but you can never get a career by joining a placement agency. And that is where the role of individual B schools come into picture. A B school which helps you shaping your career and provide your long-term guidance in terms of your future work is something that you should look for. In going forward, I will also tell you, how do you find out whether the institutes are going to provide you opportunities for long-term dividends or they are not? So first thing that all of you should keep in mind, that job and career is different. Finding a job may be easy, but finding an institution which can build your career or shape your career would be a task in itself. Does the institute also provide value in terms of self-discovery? Does it give you an opportunity to discover your own strengths, your own weaknesses? Does it also provide you opportunities to work upon your weaknesses and strengthen your strengths further? Does it give you an opportunity to learn? Is there a learning environment on that institute? How do people interact with each other? What kind of environment that has been created for the learning to take place? How do the faculties talk to you? How do you get an opportunity to talk to the faculties freely, or you feel afraid of meeting them? What kind of industry seminars, webinars, interactions does the institute provide you so that you have enormous amount of learning? Let me tell you, the industry is changing in a very rapid pace. So someone from the industry has to come or the institute at least should provide you that opportunity to tell you what kind of changes that are happening in the industry, whether it's an IT industry or a pharmaceutical industry or it's an infrastructure industry. Everywhere you see there is a huge pace of change that is taking place. And then on top of it, is the institute only providing you some classroom lectures where you can learn new subjects and then at the end of the day give you a job, or it provides you a whole lot of other opportunities to explore yourself? Does it provide you platforms to explore your own leadership capabilities? Does it provide you platforms to experience your own team member uh, skill sets? Does it also provide you opportunities where you can negotiate with someone? Does it provide you opportunities where you have to run against the time? Does it provide you opportunity where there are definite targets to achieve given in the given amount of time? Or does it provide you opportunity uh, to work within certain budgets and resource constraints? If it does, obviously it is adding value to you. Your numerator is increasing. If it does not, there's no change in the numerator. These are all long-term dividends because they are going to stay with you as a long-term asset. They will not fade away as you grow. Knowledge and skills, these are two important aspects other than the aptitude and the attitude that the institute can provide you. Knowledge comes from your interactions with the faculty members, your classroom discussions, your own readings of the books that are given to you. And it also comes from the interactions that you do with various experts from different domains. And the skill sets, there are different types of skill sets. There are soft skill sets, which many of us are very, very poor at. And we need to spend a lot of time in developing those skill sets, which are soft skill sets. There are hard skill sets also. For example, knowing how to write a piece of code, knowing how to create a technology platform. These are all skill sets. So these are all knowledge, and skill is something which is going to remain with you for a long period. It's not going to fade away immediately after you leave the college. So when you look at the ROI as a ratio, we have already discussed that on the numerator, it is the value. And the value is not only the job that you get, but a number of other things that define the value. Similarly, when you talk about the cost, it is not only the fee that you pay. There are different levels of cost that you invest during your decision to join an MBA program. So when you use all these criteria of ROI, then how should you choose a B school, right? So the first thing is you need to look at, does the institute which a B school which you are going to apply for provide you opportunities to generate long-term dividends, because it keeps you invested in those assets or instruments that you have invested in. Second thing, that does the institute provide you an opportunity of a career, not only a job, as I've already talked about it. So what we exactly mean by career, I want to spend some more time on it, because at the end of the day, this is where more clarity is required. So career means, does the role have a scope to grow? Let's say you are given a specific role where your job is to do the data entry and make sure that the data is entered in the right format. Nothing more than that. Does it really give you a scope to grow? You need to ask that question to yourself. For an organization which works in the space of data handling, probably yes, that is a very important job, a major job. But for an organization which is into consulting to other large organizations, this data handling would be only a minuscule part of the overall activities that the company is doing. Probably the higher level of things could be analyzing the data, interpreting the data, maybe doing some kind of prediction and prescription using the data. So does that role provide you move from a simple data handling individual to someone who can actually go into the role of prescription and consultancy, maybe few years down the line? And that's what we mean by job enrichment. Does the company enriches your job when you move from one year to the next year? Does the role provide you opportunities to network with various people? Because in today's world, if you're not networking, you are keeping yourself in a cocoon, and you're not growing. So networking, as they said, networking is networthing. So your higher your network, higher is your net worth. Many organizations have people having interaction on a single platform, giving you enormous opportunities to learn as to what the other teams are doing. And you can know whether something that is interesting that is being done by some other team member would be of interest to you or not. Would you be able to join the other team, or would you be willing to join the other team, participate in the activities those team members are doing? Whereas there are certain roles where you are overburdened with your own job roles and responsibilities that you seldom get time to interact with other individuals of the organization. So one has to evaluate whether there are opportunities of networking with other members of the organization, or the client's organization, or the suppliers organization, vendors organizations, or not. Does the role provide you independent decision making opportunities? And does the company allow you to make a wrong decision as well? Right? Does it allow you to take risk and go ahead and make a mistake? Because it is highly unlikely that every decision you would be making would be a correct decision. You will make mistakes, but it all depends how the organization or how the role provides you flexibility of making that mistake. Of course, there are certain roles where the cost of making a mistake would be very, very high. So probably there, the chances of making a mistake would be very low, and the company would not like to make any chances over there. I get some questions, so I will respond to them probably after my presentation is over. All right. And then what is the brand of the company that you're going to join? What kind of culture that flourishes in those organizations? Do the company's employees talk about the culture to the outside world? Do the employees feel proud of the culture the company has? Does the organization have its own identity in the social environment as well as in the business environment? Right? There are certain companies, the name of the company itself gives you a feeling of upbeat feeling. There are certain companies whose name itself put you off. So what kind of companies are coming? What are the brands coming into that institute? That also should be an important measure of choosing a B school, right? So when you look at a B school placement records, don't only look at the salary details. Also look at the list of companies that are coming and what kind of roles they are providing. Take those roles and talk to the other individuals in the same organization and try to find out what are the things that entail in those roles. Try to go to the LinkedIn profile of that specific company and see what kind of activities, what kind of work the individual employees are doing in those organizations. The moment you go to employee level detailing, you will understand the exact culture and exact activities that the organizations do. As I've already said, that these days, everything, almost everything, depends on how you are networked. What is your network of individuals? A survey by performance-based hiring learning system has revealed that today 80% of the jobs are filled via networking. That means the companies are going to these networking sites to find out suitable candidates. And if you are joining a B school and it does not provide you an opportunity to network, obviously you are missing on a lot. You on your own at this stage probably will not be able to create the kind of network that a good B school would be able to provide. The people who visit, for instance, they're an industry veteran who visits your classroom to provide you a lecture or take few sessions. And then just after the sessions, you connect to that individual via LinkedIn or via any other networking platform. You suddenly become a part of his network or her network. Suddenly your network grows exponentially. And an institute which provides you such opportunities every day, it is helping you build your own network. And network is where most of the organizations also go to find out suitable candidates. Does the institute also provide you opportunities to negotiate? Negotiation is a high level skill which you might want to learn. It is something which is going to remain with you throughout your life. So when you look at any institute or a B school, please see if the B school has any courses on business negotiation or negotiation in general. We may think that we are good negotiators whenever we talk about negotiation in a very colloquial terms, but remember, we are not a good negotiator all the time. We first need to understand if there is a better negotiator than us or not. There are some specific courses which tell you the nuances of negotiating. When you negotiate with a customer, what are those nuances? When you negotiate with your vendors, what are the nuances? When you negotiate with your HR for salaries, how should you negotiate? So if an institute gives you such opportunities and such platforms where you can learn these vital skill sets, obviously that is this institute one has to look for. And the most important is the alumni network, which is related to this negotiation and networking. An institute which has a wide and deep alumni network provides you a huge opportunity to connect for job references in a very rapid phase. For example, IMT group has a 42 years old network of alumni database. Your alumni database at IMT system is close to about maybe about 13 or 14,000 people. And the moment an individual joins this institute, automatically that individual becomes a part of such a large web of alumni. And in a click of few buttons, you can find out a specific individual for a specific role in a specific country, in a specific company, and you can get connected with them. The moment an alumni is connected from other, connected by other alumni, there is always the first connect that happens. And that first connect is very important for you to take it forward. You don't feel like a stranger. You feel like someone who is coming from your own alma mater. So then the job references becomes easy. And then personalized mentorship is something which is very crucial. Every individual student, especially in the B school setup, requires a mentor. The mentor has to be someone who is a veteran in the industry and who can guide the student through the various pathways in their career in the industry. So these alumni can be very useful resources to become mentors and mentor the existing students. So at IMT, because I am also the chairperson of alumni relationships, we use these alumni very judiciously for helping our existing student, providing them mentoring facilities, responsibilities, and also being their mentor throughout the journey of 2 years. And finally, the student become very, very, ready for the industry. Now, as I had earlier said, that an MBA graduate definitely is more employable, provided the graduate has joined a right institute and a right organization. If that happens, from the point of view of growth in salary, uh, 2018 Financial Times study says that an MBA graduate um, doubles its salary within 3 years of their graduation. So that's the kind of impact the value generation during the MBA has on your growth of the salary. So with this, I think I will end my session now. I think I have been able to provide you some vital information in terms of how do you evaluate the value from a program, and how do you evaluate the real cost of investment into a program. I would be happy to take questions now. So let me see if there are questions here. I have a question from Sir, I am a general non-engineer BBA student, scored approximately 85 percentile in CAT. Is it possible for me to get it? I think these questions can be directed to the admissions committee of IMT Ghaziabad Central Admission Committee. They will be able to respond to these questions much better, not me at this point in time. Are there any other questions?
So that's all the questions we have for today.
All right. So shall we wind it up now?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much, and wish you all a very good season for your MBA program. And I hope I'll be able to see some of you in the institute. All the best. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.